the invasiveness of screen time in our lives, I guess, and specifically the way kids are basically a lot of their time is monopolized just staring at screens all day. I mean, it's it's not like the good old days where it was just the TV on the stand that would be taking everyone's time. It would, there's multiple computers, there's tablets, there's smartphones, and given the propensity for potentially using those screens as a tool to keep the kids occupied as well, it can be a bit difficult to sort of sever it at some point because doing simple things like getting out of the house, getting outside in the fresh air, spending time with others and that sort of thing is of beneficial use from a mental health perspective, and it can be hard to really manage a lot of that stuff.
Well, I think you've just hit the nail on the head. If sitting down was the new smoking, I think that's already done because everyone's got standing desks. I think the new mental health thing will be screen time in the future, and I think not just kids but adults, everyone needs to do less time on the screen. We're going to work on the screen, we're commuting on a screen, our cars have screens, there are screens all around us, and I think that is changing the way that we think, and that's something that people have been saying for a decade now, but I think we're starting to see it.
Yeah, and it's interesting that obviously there's a focus on getting the kids out and about. I guess similar to what I think the argument being that like when we were growing up, that's all we did because there wasn't any screens around. I mean, I obviously grew up eventually with computers and stuff in the house, but they didn't monopolize the amount of time that they do, I guess, these days. But I guess the important point too, it's not just the kids, it's that adults can fall into this trap as well, because you can just get, your eyeballs sort of stuck on the screen and you don't leave because it's too engaging and too addictive in a way.
It's a constant battle for every parent. You go to the park with your kids and, like they're doing something, so you check your phone, If they see you do that, what do you think they're going to do?
Yeah.
So it's a battle for all of us because we're so connected. So I don't know if it's probably disappointing, that COVID's brought us together through screens, I think in a positive way. But once COVID goes, there might actually be a very negative edge to it. I don't know. We'll see.
And I think that it's the key to it is really just about balance, etc. Because you also don't want to lose the positivity that comes from using the technology as well, because they are very exceptionally useful tools that can lead to greater things. Getting the kids to be creative on their devices, whether it's shooting videos, doing photos, drawing, anything like that. That's also a positive aspect of using the technology that we never had the benefit of that growing up. But even though we were doing it all on pen and paper and stuff like that instead, but it's about finding that balance between that and then overusing it. And I think that's almost like a the overarching thing when it comes to devices anyway, overall. That
It's a fine line, isn't it? Because, you can use pen and paper or you can use a screen, and the screen can open up so many more possibilities. But then if that's all you're using, you never get the experience of pen and paper. And it must be good somehow.
Absolutely. I haven't done any sort of research into it, but I have to wonder what I guess teaching and in the classrooms like these days with, trying to get kids to re-engage with those old analog methods of pen and paper, writing out. And I just hope that that's still part of what's going on out there. I don't know because I haven't asked, but it would be good to know that that's still happening.
Well, it still happens, but unfortunately by the time you get to high school, that's it for pen and paper pretty much.
And then you have to leave it to Apple to, and other companies, I guess, to come up with a electronic pencil so you can write on the screens that they deliver.
It never feels right, though. I still prefer to take notes by hand, but, then you have to transfer them to a screen. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't like writing. I've got ink on my PCs, and I like it for specific things, but I don't like it for long or complicated tasks. Pen and paper's best for that.
And I have wondered about that because, like if you're quickly taking notes and you've got a device, wouldn't you use the fastest method possible to get whatever it is you need into the device, as opposed to, handwriting it so that it can turn it into text anyway? It's a curious thing.
It's interesting, and I wish someone would do some sort of research on it. But I find that the process of using your hands to put on paper. There's obviously a mental connection between your head and your hands, so the thoughts in your head are going to your hands. And there seems to be something for me that's a lot more a deeper sort of, relationship with what I write on paper than there ever is on the screen.